Someone says one small thing across the room, a half joke, a slightly cold tone. By lunch, everyone has forgotten it. Everyone except you. You replay it that night, and the next, you hear the exact words again. Meanwhile, the person who said it barely remembers saying it. So why does the same moment land like nothing for them and like a bruise for you? It is easy to call that being too sensitive, but that answer explains nothing. Something in how your brain takes in that moment is simply set differently, and a psychologist proved it decades ago. In the 1990s, a psychologist named Elaine Aron began studying exactly this. She found that some brains take in the world more deeply and react more strongly. She called the trait sensory processing sensitivity, and it is not a rare handful of people. Her research suggests roughly 15 to 20% of people are wired this way. That is 1 in 5 in every classroom and every office. This is not a label someone made up online. It is a measurable trait tied to how much your brain lets in. You are not broken. You are set to notice more than the person next to you. 2 people sit through the same dinner. One walks away fine. The other needs an hour of silence just to feel normal again. But noticing more is only half of it. The real question is why noticing more makes the whole day cost more segment ID Plosinder. It starts before you feel anything at all. Think of a friend saying they are fine. Most people hear the word and believe it, but you catch the tiny drop in their voice. You notice their smile arrive half a second too late. Those faint signals are there for everyone. Most brains just filter them out as background noise. Picture a dial that quietly turns down whatever doesn't matter. In your brain, that dial is turned the other way. The small stuff comes in loud and clear, so you're not reacting harder to the same moment. You're taking in far more of the moment first. But noticing a lot is not the same as being flooded by it. So what turns simple noticing into feeling everything? The answer is what your brain does a second later. These brains don't just take in more, they chew on it far more deeply. And we can watch this happen inside the skull. A researcher named Bianca Acevedo, working with Aron, put highly sensitive people in a brain scanner. Then they showed them photographs of faces, a face full of joy, a face heavy with sadness. For most people, the brain gives a small response. But in the sensitive group, something lit up far stronger. The areas that flared handle awareness and feeling what another person feels. In plain terms, their brains were working harder to step inside that face. Not just seeing the emotion, but sharing it. So this is a real difference in how these brains handle emotion. And here is the everyday payoff. You walk into a room and know within seconds that something is off. Nobody has said a word yet. That is your brain running the whole room through this deeper machinery at once. Reading a room in seconds sounds like a quiet superpower, until you learn what your brain refuses to do afterward. A brain that takes in more does not switch off when the moment ends. Everyone else relaxes the second the conversation is over. Your body stays braced. Your heart is still running a little fast. Your alertness stays up, long after there is nothing left to react to. That is why a great party can leave you flattened. That is why one hard conversation sends you looking for a quiet room. It is not that you didn't enjoy it. Your system is still switched on and cannot find the off button. So while everyone else sleeps, you lie there replaying it. The exact words, the exact look on their face. That replaying is not you being dramatic. It is the same machinery still chewing through what it never finished. You need the silence because your body is still working. So the exhaustion and the insight look like two different things. They are the exact same mechanism. Here is the part that changes everything. The sensitivity that connects you is not separate from the sensitivity that drains you. They are not two traits. They are one wiring. The noticing that reads a face in half a second is the same noticing that floods you an hour later. You cannot keep one and delete the other. This is why toughen up never works. To turn down the overwhelm, you would have to turn down the whole system, the same system that catches the tension before anyone speaks. But this is not a life sentence. It is not a diagnosis, and it is not fixed. How strong it feels changes from day to day. The same person falls apart in a loud room at night and wakes up the next morning calm and clear. When you're rested and safe, the system runs quieter. When you're tired or on edge, everything comes in louder. So the real question stops being what is wrong with me? It becomes what is my system doing right now? So watch what happens next time a message reads a little cold, A short reply, a missing word, a tone that feels off. Your chest tightens before you decide what it means. Here's what you can do now that you couldn't before. You can name it. That tightening is not a verdict about the friendship. It is your system running high, nothing more. And once you call it that, you stop spiraling. You wait, you rest, you check instead of assume. One relabel, and the whole reaction changes. So feeling everything deeply was never a weakness, and never a superpower. It is a brain set to notice where the connection and the cost arrive together. You cannot pull them apart, because they were never two things. And here is the quiet truth in it. The person who feels the whole room is the person the room forgets to protect. You catch what everyone misses, and carry what everyone else gets to put down. Now you know why that bruise stayed when theirs never formed. But notice something strange. Your brain quietly decides how much a single moment weighs. And if it can decide how heavy a moment feels, what else is it deciding without asking you? That same quiet brain also decides how long a moment lasts, which is why a slow afternoon crawls, but a whole year can vanish in a blink, and the reason is stranger than you think. Tap the video on your screen to see why time speeds up as you age. Subscribe to Where Why Begins for more strange reasons behind ordinary things.